Welcome back to Research. If it's your first time here, my name's Adriana, and this channel is dedicated to sharing all the lessons I've learned and am learning as a new real estate investor. If you've enjoyed the content on this channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you get notified of when the next video goes live. Okay, so you bought a pre-construction condo unit a few years ago and it's getting closer and closer to getting finished. What an exciting time. What should you expect? Well, there are definitely 3 terms that I know you've heard of that I think are really important to keep in mind as you get closer and closer to being able to pick up those keys. So let's get started. Interim occupancy is when you'll be handed the keys to your unit, but the title has not officially transferred to you yet. This is a milestone where the developer has met the minimum Ontario Building Code requirements in order for the unit to be deemed occupiable. The most obvious indication of this stage is when you can legally go onto the floor or into the unit without a hard hat or safety boots. Interim occupancy happens sequentially by floor, starting from the bottom. That's why if you buy a unit on the lower floors, you'll be in this interim occupancy period the longest. The amenities will also be finished last because there is no financial benefit for the developer to finish the amenities in advance of the units. So once you get the keys, you can either move in or rent it out. In order for you to have the option to rent it out, make sure you have right to lease during occupancy as part of your purchase agreement. Right to lease during occupancy is very popular nowadays, and most projects have this already baked in. This clause will allow you to get permission from the developer to rent out this unit during the interim occupancy period. Now, it's important to follow the process here because remember, you are legally not the owner of the unit yet. If you're going to be renting out the unit, keep in mind that the building will still be a construction zone in some areas, so potentially disruptive for those who are working from home. The amenities will also not be finished yet, and expect this to impact the rent you can charge. For my fellow investors out there, has it been difficult to rent out your unit during interim occupancy? Let me know your experience in the comment section below. So you've been handed the keys to your unit, but it isn't legally yours yet, so the mortgage hasn't kicked in. What you will need to prepare and budget for are occupancy fees, or commonly known as phantom rent, that the developer will charge. These monthly fees do not contribute to your mortgage. They are a mechanism for the developer to recoup some of the carrying costs until all the units are complete and can be transferred over to all the unit owners. Let's take a closer look. Here's how phantom rent is calculated. It's the interest on the unpaid balance of the purchase price, plus the estimated common elements fee or maintenance fees, plus your property taxes. 2 of the 3 variables are known, and these are typically found on the price list from when you bought the unit. For example, let's say I move forward with one of the units that made my shortlist at Prime Condos. The price of the 520 square foot 1-bedroom plus den unit that I liked was $739,990. The total deposit is 20% of the purchase price. So it would be $739,990 minus 20% deposit, which is $147,998. The balance remaining is $591,992. This is also what I need a mortgage for. You have to multiply this amount by the 1-year Bank of Canada rate, which is posted, and that's currently 2.79%. Divide everything by 12 to get the monthly amount. This is your X value. Next, to get the Y, you have to multiply the size of the unit, which is 520 square feet, times 72 cents per square foot, which is what was identified on the price list, and your maintenance fees per month are as $374.40. Lastly, to get the property taxes, you just multiply the purchase price by 1% and divide by 12 for the monthly amount, and it's $616.65. So if you add everything together, the interim occupancy fee for this unit, or the phantom rent that you would have to pay for this unit, is $2,367.33. Depending on the height of the building, you should budget to have at least 6 to 9 months of interim occupancy fees. You can see why many people would want to rent it out because the fee can get quite high. As a point of reference, my building is 22 stories tall and my interim occupancy period lasted 8 months. If you're renting your unit out during this interim occupancy period, the good thing is that you should have the majority of the occupancy fees covered, if not the whole thing. The downside is that if you're planning to move in when your mortgage kicks in, the unit won't be brand spanking new, if that's something that matters to you. Final closing is when the building can legally transfer ownership from the developer to all the unit owners. This is an all or nothing kind of situation and when your mortgage will kick in. If you've been through this process before, you'll know that just because your mortgage kicks in doesn't mean that the building is fully complete. You'll still have the developer's contractors around working on minor items and finishing up the amenities. This is because there are 2 requirements in order for ownership to transfer from the developer to the unit owners. Now remember, the developer's goal is to get to this as quickly as possible, and these requirements are defined in the Construction Act. In a nutshell, those requirements are: number 1, that the building is ready for its intended use. This requirement is satisfied by achieving occupancy in all the units. Number 2, that the value of deficiencies is less than a certain amount. Now, the certain amount varies from project to project because it depends on the contract value. There is a calculation, a formula in the Construction Act that will tell you how to calculate that value. Essentially, once the value of things to fix for the developer is less than the result of the calculation, then the developer can check this box off. This is why you'll still have the developer's contractors in the building working on various things even after ownership has been transferred. I hope you enjoyed this brief review of what to expect as you get closer and closer to picking up those keys. It's such an exciting time as a purchaser and an investor, but there are definitely carrying costs to keep in mind and to budget for in addition to closing costs. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you soon. Take care.